Welcome to the Deep Dive. So glad you could join us. Here we basically sift through stacks of info articles, research, notes to pull out the really useful stuff, turning that feeling of overload into some real aha moments. Today we're digging into something specific, the critical role of technical communication in the entrepreneurial workplace. And our main source for this is, well, it's a deep dive itself. Excerpts from EGL 555 Unit 1 Technical Communication at Entrepreneurial Workplace, Johnson Sheehan PDF.
Right. And our mission today is pretty clear. We want to really understand why technical communication is, frankly, way more than just writing reports. It's more like the lifeblood, for innovation, for strategic thinking, especially if you're an entrepreneur. We'll look at how those raw ideas actually get shaped into documents that make an impact and what skills you actually need for that.
Yeah, when you first hear technical communication, it might sound a bit dry, maybe niche, like just for engineers or scientists or something. But here's what's really interesting, and what our source argues pretty strongly. It's actually fundamental, like core to creating things, selling things, and, well, succeeding in almost any modern job. So, okay, let's unpack that a bit. The source material kicks off with this really great analogy. It calls technical communication the central nervous system of a workplace. And it says this is especially true in entrepreneurial places, where turning that initial spark, that idea, into something concrete, like a document, that's often the very first real step.
That analogy really hits home, doesn't it? It captures that sense of connection and control. And what's fascinating is just how foundational this is, especially for new folks starting out in technical or scientific fields. The source points out the sheer volume of writing and speaking they have to do. It's not just important. It uses the word crucial for success right from the get-go.
Crucial. Wow. So not just a nice to have.
Not at all. It's not something you can just sort of, pick up later on the job. It's needed immediately.
And it's more than just getting your point across day to day, right?
Yeah.
It's tied to bigger things. Like the source mentions, it helps individuals think critically, be more creative, plan strategically.
Exactly. It's the engine for developing new products, new services, finding solutions to problems people actually have. You could have the best idea in the world, but if you can't communicate it effectively, well, it might just fizzle out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So ultimately, the goal here is to equip people with both those solid communication skills and that entrepreneurial know-how, that combination, because that's what lets you really succeed and, thrive in today's technical world, which is always changing. It's fundamentally about the flow of knowledge turning into action smoothly, effectively.
Okay, so if it's this central nervous system, this vital thing, what does good technical communication actually look like? What are its defining features?
Well, the source highlights several key characteristics. First off, it's highly mobile, interactive, and adaptable. Think about it. Documents aren't just static paper anymore. They have to work on your phone, your tablet, your desktop.
Right, everywhere.
Everywhere. And they need constant tweaking, updating, adapting to what users or clients need now. It's dynamic.
So it's alive,
Yeah.
almost. Not just a final draft you file away.
Precisely. Second characteristic, it's deeply reader-centered. This is so important. It's not just about broadcasting what you know or what you want to say. It's about truly understanding your reader. What do they need? What motivates them? How will they likely react? It's about anticipating what you, the reader, need before you even ask. It's empathetic, really.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give an example of where not being reader-centered causes problems?
Yeah.
Even for smart people.
Oh, absolutely. All the time. Imagine, say, developers writing a user guide filled with internal jargon.
Okay.
Assuming the user knows way more than they do. Or a startup pitching investors. They get excited about the tech, but they forget the investor's core question: how does this make money?
Right. They miss the audience's need.
Exactly. The communication fails because it wasn't built for the actual reader. Third point. It's inherently team-oriented. Technical work is almost always collaborative now. You've got specialists from different teams working together. So naturally, you rely heavily on tools for real-time collaboration. Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, things like that. It's about shared understanding.
Makes sense. Collective effort.
Fourth, it's highly visual. Good technical documents use visuals strategically. Think clear headings, bullet points, diagrams, photos. These aren't just decoration, they help readers find information fast. The source mentions a blood donation flyer as an example. Bright colors, a relatable photo, short, scannable text. It makes the message clear and impactful instantly.
So the design isn't just fluff, it's part of the communication itself.
It's absolutely integral. Fifth characteristic, it's shaped by ethical, legal, and political issues. This is big. You have to consider things like privacy, data security, who owns the intellectual property, management structures, responsibilities. All these factors influence how you must handle and communicate information. It's about building trust through responsibility.
Right. High stakes sometime.
Definitely. And finally, sixth, it's shaped by international and transcultural demands. We operate globally now, so communication has to work for diverse audiences, different languages, cultures, customs, expectations. What's perfectly normal communication in one place might be confusing or even offensive somewhere else, requires cultural awareness.
Okay, that's a lot to juggle. Adaptable, reader-focused, visual, ethical, global. So, given all that, how do you actually go from just an idea, a concept, to one of these effective, polished documents? Is there a process entrepreneurs can follow?
Yes, absolutely. The source lays out a technical writing process. It's described as dynamic, interconnected, importantly, not always strictly linear, more like stages you might cycle through. It kicks off with stage one, researching and planning. This is foundational, strategic groundwork. Here, you really need to define your purpose. Ask yourself, is this document mainly informative? Using verbs like inform, describe, explain, or is it persuasive? Aiming to persuade, convince, recommend, justify, knowing this shapes everything else.
Inform or persuade. Okay.
Then you need to develop a reader profile. Really dig into who they are, their needs, values, what they already know, what they might be feeling, what they're trying to learn. Research itself breaks down a bit. There's quick startup research, like using Google for a quick overview. And then there's more rigorous formal research, fact-based, data-driven, might involve experiments, surveys, and critically assessing the bias in your sources.
Right, gotta check those sources.
Always. And this stage is also where you tap into creativity. Generate ideas using techniques like concept mapping, brainstorming, maybe just free writing, or even storyboarding for visual projects. And finally, within planning, there's strategic planning. This means identifying your top rank objective, the ultimate goal, and then breaking that down into maybe 3 to 5 specific secondary objectives that support the main one, setting a clear direction.
Okay, so that's all stage one, research and plan. What's next?
Stage 2 is organizing and drafting. This is where you start structuring those ideas from your plan and actually getting words down. Your outline comes to life here. Then comes stage 3, improving the style. And style isn't just about sounding good, it's crucial for clarity and persuasion. The source makes a useful distinction here between plain style focused on clarity, accuracy, making things easy to understand, easy to learn from.
Okay, like instructions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And persuasive style, which is different. It might use sensory details, maybe appeal to emotions, use analogies, metaphors, strong visuals, pacing, all to motivate the reader to act.
So you choose the style based on the purpose you defined back in stage one.
Precisely. It all connects. Stage 4 is designing. Making the document or presentation look good, yes, but also making it usable and effective. The source has this great line, readers are raiders for information.
Raiders. I like that. They swoop in, grab what they need, and leave.
Exactly. So your design graphics, layout, headings needs to help them do that quickly and easily. Like that instruction manual example again. Good design makes it work.
Got it. And the final stage.
Stage 5, revising and editing. Absolutely critical. Don't skip this. This is where you ensure clarity, accuracy, efficiency. It happens on a couple of levels. There's substantive editing, looking at the big picture, the content itself, the organization, the design choices. Then revising, which is kind of re-examining if you actually met your purpose and hit your target audience. And finally, the nitty-gritty, copy editing and proofreading, checking for grammar, typos, spelling, usage mistakes.
The small stuff that can trip you up.
Absolutely. Because even small errors can really damage the reader's trust in your whole message.
Right. Okay, this process makes sense. It flows. Now, something else the source brings up, which I found really interesting, this idea of genres. Not like literary genres, but genres in technical communication.
Yes. This is a great point. Genres aren't just for novels or poetry. In technical settings, they're basically established patterns for communication within a community. They act like mental shortcuts or templates. They help structure your work, guide your choices about content, organization, style, design, making delivery more effective because the reader has some expectation of how it works. They're powerful tools.
Okay, so give me an example.
Well, think about the elevator pitch. That's a perfect microgenre. The source actually breaks down its typical parts. Introduce yourself quickly, grab attention with the story or hook, present the big idea, give maybe 2-3 key reasons why it matters, show how it's different, briefly touch on cost benefits, and end memorably.
All in like 60 seconds.
Exactly. It's a highly structured narrative designed for impact in a very short time.
Okay, what about a bigger genre?
A classic one is the proposal. Much more comprehensive. Typically, you'll see sections like an introduction, describing the current problem or situation, explaining your proposed plan in detail, outlining your team's qualifications, discussing costs and benefits, a conclusion, and usually a detailed budget.
Right, very structured, built to convince someone.
Precisely. The structure itself helps build the argument, or take something seemingly simple like instructions. The genre itself dictates the form. Numbered steps, action verbs, maybe diagrams, all designed to make it super easy for you, the reader, to follow along and complete a task successfully.
So understanding the genre helps you write it and helps the reader use it.
Exactly. And if you zoom out, you see that mastering these genres is incredibly useful for getting new ideas out there effectively, whether it's a formal report, a website, a presentation, even, a podcast like this, deep dive. Genres give you a framework.
Okay, this is all starting to connect really nicely. So let's bring it back to the entrepreneur, or really anyone working in a fast-paced environment. What does all this mean for you listening? The source draws a really strong line between these technical communication skills and the traits of successful entrepreneurs. It's not just a coincidence, is it?
Not at all. The source argues there's a really strong symbiotic relationship. They feed each other. Good technical communication gives you the tools you need to develop your ideas, articulate them, and actually bring new products or services into the world.
Okay, so let's look at those traits, the source lists. There are 8. How do they map onto communication? First, the innovator. It's not just having ideas, right? It's being able to spot trends, create solutions, and crucially translate those ideas into writing or speech that others get.
Absolutely. Communication makes innovation tangible.
Then the leader. Entrepreneurs need to set goals, define outcomes, delegate. And effective leadership relies so heavily on clear, compelling communication, inspiring the team, aligning stakeholders.
Couldn't agree more. Communication is leadership in many ways.
They also need to be great listeners, constantly learning, researching trends, but fundamentally really understanding their audience, their customers.
Yeah, soaking up information, getting feedback, adapting based on what you hear. That's listening as a skill.
4th trait, network savvy. Being collaborative, working well in teams, often across different locations, using various channels.
Right. Mobile, video calls, remote work. It all relies on strong communication to build those connections and share understanding.
5th, self-reliant. Having that discipline, determination, trusting your own knowledge.
And often that internal confidence comes from being able to clearly articulate your own thoughts and plans, even just to yourself. Structured thinking helps.
Interesting link. Okay, 6th, being ethical. Making good decisions, respecting people, ensuring communication is fair and honest.
Foundational. Trust is everything, and it's built and broken through communication, especially around sensitive data or promises.
7th, resilient. Staying focused under pressure, bouncing back from failure.
And communication is key here too, right? Being able to articulate the problem, brainstorm solutions, communicate progress or setbacks clearly, even when things are tough.
Absolutely. And the last one, number 8, kind of sums it all up. Just being an excellent communicator.
Yeah. Clear, confident, persuasive, in whatever form is needed. It really underpins all the others.
It really does.
So, this leads to a really practical question for anyone listening. If you're looking to grow, maybe become more entrepreneurial in your thinking or actions, how can consciously working on your technical communication skills actually help you build these very traits? It's a direct pathway, the source suggests.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the deep dive. It really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? Technical communication isn't just some administrative task or a niche skill. It's actually a strategic force, central to innovation, central to success, especially in that entrepreneurial space.
Yeah, I think what this deep dive really highlights is that mastering technical communication. It's not just about writing a clear email or report. It's fundamentally about cultivating a whole mindset. Strategic thinking, ethical awareness, being adaptable in how you connect with people. It empowers you to take those fuzzy ideas and turn them into something real, something impactful. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Consider your next big challenge or even just your next important email. How could you deliberately apply some of these principles, thinking about purpose, audience, genre, clarity, to make it truly persuasive, truly effective, turning that thought into reality?
Great final thought. We really hope this deep dive leaves you feeling more well-informed, maybe a bit inspired, and ready to approach your own communication with renewed purpose and maybe a little more strategy. Thanks for joining us.